Now, if you're good at sales, you're also good at working through the spouse objection. And most leaders I work with struggle trying to get their sales team to be as good at handling objections as they are. And that's why I created this video, to help leaders with a systematic tool that they can teach. They can use it and teach their sales teams what to do when the spouse objection comes up. Now, what I'm teaching here about overcoming the spouse objection, it doesn't always lead to a yes. But when you do this right, it always leads to the truth. Your goal as a professional salesperson is not to force and cram a sale on people. Your goal is to get to the truth of what people need, what they want, whatever that truth is. The truth will set you free. It'll either lead to a sale or it will allow you to stop wasting your time on a sale that really wasn't going to happen anyways. Okay, listen. The number one biggest mistake salespeople make is to answer objections that aren't real. Think about it. Most of what people say is just to get rid of you. They don't like you. They don't trust you. For all they know, you're there to steal their time that they don't have enough of, their money that they don't want to give you. And if you're knocking on their door, how are they to know that you're not casing at their house to rob them in the night? So you want to anticipate that they will be resistant to you and embrace that. Be okay with it. Don't be surprised when they lie to you to just try to quickly get rid of you. They don't know you. You're not on their radar for what's important to them. Can you blame them for doing everything they can to quickly dismiss themselves as a candidate for whatever it is that you're doing? Now, here's my formula to overcome the spouse objection like a pro. So first, you got to flesh out the smoke screen. And the spouse objection is the ultimate smoke screen to get rid of salespeople. And really the reason why is because it's hard to say back to them, like, I gotta talk to my spouse. And it's hard to say back to them, no, you don't need to talk to your spouse. And now I've tried variations of that in a lot of different ways over the years, and it does not work. And so there's a better way, and I'm gonna show you a framework I've developed through over 20 years of being in sales and leading teams. And among the first things you need to do is identify if it's a real objection or a smoke screen. As my fireman neighbor Brian says, don't water the smoke. Think about it. Firemen watering smoke, there's no point to it. And how often do we as salespeople water that smoke screen? There's no reason to put energy into it. Don't invest, don't put energy into the smoke screen. Now here's how to do it. Well, I've got to talk to my spouse. Yeah, for sure. And keep moving forward. This is what you do the first time it comes up. The first time, you just ignore it. Now, you're not ignoring them as a human being. You're not ignoring that they're speaking. But you do, and you must ignore that what they're saying is an objection. You don't translate it as being an objection. Hey, I gotta talk to my spouse. Yeah, okay, no problem. Boom, and keep moving forward. So again, this is the first time. The first time it comes up, it's a, yeah, for sure. Like you expected it, and it's not a problem. You keep going forward, keep the sale moving forward, just as normal. And you'll be surprised by how many times this just resolves it. And it doesn't come back up again because you move forward and they get more understanding and they're like, oh, well, this does work. And then so the smoke screen is flushed out. This is the first and easiest step to identify if it's a smoke screen and be able to just demolish that. Okay, now, if it comes back up again. So here it is the second time. They might say something like, okay, it sounds good. But like I said, I'm gonna have to talk to my spouse. Here's where you just take it, you invest a little bit more into it. Before you're identifying, you're just kind of like ignoring it, and now they've said it again. Here's what you do. So just so I know, to help you talk with Jenny, your spouse, what do you think she's gonna think about this? And they can answer it with anything. It doesn't matter what they say. There's really only three things that they can say. Yes, I think she'd like it. No, I don't think she'd like it. Or I don't know what she would think. If you ask them, what do you think she's going to say about this? And they say, yeah, I think she'd like it. Like, okay, cool. What makes you say that? And then you draw out from them all the reasons why they think that they will actually like it. And then you're now just anchoring in the sale, and you could possibly just close the sale right then and like have them surprise their spouse with this thing that they already know they're going to want. Okay, if it's a yes. If it's a no, like, okay, no problem. What makes you say that? And then have them share with you some of the reasons why they think it's going to be a no. And you just can kind of get to the truth and start identifying and fleshing that out. If they say, you know what, I really just don't know what Jenny's going to think about this. Like, okay, no problem. Now, I know you don't know, and that's okay. But knowing Jenny probably better than anybody, how do you think she might feel about it? And let them respond. Hold them to taking a stance. This is where having rapport is key. If you don't have rapport, they're not gonna just play this with you. They're probably just gonna keep throwing out smoke screens. But if they're strong enough rapport, they're likely to open up about sort of the real thoughts of what's really going on. So you get them to take a stand about Jenny's thoughts on what you're selling them, and they tell you she would probably like it. And so it went from, I don't really know, but then you kind of pin them down on that. I know you don't know, and that's okay. But if you did know, what do you think it might be? What do you think she might say? Well, I mean, I think she probably would be okay with it. All right, cool. What makes you say that? Boom, and then you draw that out, and you move on. Or it's like, no, I really don't think she wanted it. Okay, yeah, fair enough. What makes you say that? And get them to kind of take a position. Now, if it's a real objection, that they just really need to talk to their spouse. Here's how you leave it. This is where you isolate the objection for them, specifically who you're talking to John. So you're talking about Jenny, you isolated to try to find out about Jenny, but now let's go to John, right? So, hey, listen, John, before I go and before you chat with Jenny, help me understand. Now, I know the decision is both of yours, and I'm good with that. There's no problem. But on your end, what do you think about this? And you want to get them to commit to taking a position on it. Now, it doesn't matter what they say. If it's a yes, if it's a no, like, yeah, I'm actually really interested. No, I'm really not interested. Like, this is just going to unlock more of the truth. And remember, that's the key anchor to this. It's the truth that you're after as a professional salesperson. Now, sleazy salespeople, you're just trying to cram them into the corner and get them to make a decision that you want for them. And that's not professional sales, and that's what gives sales a bad reputation. As a pro, you're just trying to get to the truth. And this will also take the awkward pressure off of the situation because you're not trying to cram a sale. You're trying to help serve that person. Now, my friend, this is how you work through the spouse objection. Because there's nothing that you can say. There's no magic bullet on like, oh, this is what you say for the spouse objection. The only key, the only thing that really matters, the thing that works is fleshing out the smoke screen, identifying, is the spouse a real concern? And if it is, why? Are they likely to be interested or not? And also, you separated the spouse from the person, the other spouse, the one that you're actually talking to. And you identify and you isolate, do they have a concern? And that's how you separate it, and you're able to move forward. And oftentimes, by just going through this process, you flush it out and are able to close the sale right then. Sometimes, you're gonna have to come back. But now you're coming back knowing that the person you talked to wasn't actually that interested, but that you think their spouse would be, and you know why. Or vice versa, or whatever the case may be. And maybe sometimes they actually need to talk to their spouse if it's a decision it's going to involve both of them, and that happens often. Now, here's a rule: don't set a comeback appointment with someone who's just trying to get rid of you. And to accomplish this, you're going to need to learn how to have good rapport with people, which is a whole nother training on how to build rapport. But they're not going to likely open up to you with the truth if they don't like you or if they don't trust you. They're just gonna lie to you, and they'll feel justified because they're not lying. They're just trying to protect themselves. They're not liars. They're just trying to protect themselves. And remember, don't answer objections that aren't real. Your job is to learn how to flush out the smoke screens. And this video, I've shared how do you flush them out with a spouse objection, that spouse smoke screen, which a lot of times is flushed out in the first time. They say, oh, I gotta text my spouse. Yeah, no problem. And you keep moving forward. If it comes back again, I gotta text my spouse. Yeah, no problem. Okay, before I go, boom, it's the doorknob close. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm leaving, hands on the doorknob. Hey, before I go, a couple questions for you. That's how you work through this, and you identify if it's a real concern. And if it's a real concern, great. You can set a comeback appointment and you can go and close that sale. But most of the time you can flesh it out, and oftentimes you can even if there is some concern up front about a spouse objection, a lot of times as you work through it, you can close it even without the spouse there and have it be an awesome thing because they already know their spouse is going to want it. Okay, couple final tips to help you overcome objections like a pro. Let no be your vitamin. Let it fuel you, because people who buy object twice as much. And when you start hearing no's, that you know you're on the right track. Keep moving, keep pushing forward. Now you know you're on the right track because objections are really only questions in disguise. And people who have questions are interested, right? So you want to translate in your mind when people start saying no to you. Have it translate in your mind, be like, I don't, K-N-O-W. I don't know. I don't know enough about what's going on to be able to make a decision. And then that's the best news that you have, because the reality is that's why you're there, to help them to know. Okay, my friend, make it an incredible day.